Dan, now that you mention about 5,000 accounts that are pretty much flying under the radar at that point, because some of the widely circulated stats around this states that it's a ratio of 144 NHIs to one human identity. That's the mapping that exists as things stand today. And it is definitely alarming because I think we've just about gotten around the fact that, yes, human identities need to be governed, but is that same level of rigor being extended to non-human identities? Because again, often service accounts, those are things that not technically, to your point, is being inventorized, or we don't know where it is being leveraged. So that does create a sense of persistence within an environment, right? If you haven't rotated those credentials, that becomes another opportunity for a malicious actor to technically log in or uh, make themselves create an entry point to that environment and move laterally from a human credential that was potentially compromised into the actual tangible target, which is the machine identity, right? So what are you hearing more and more around this space, the way uh, vishing and phishing attacks are definitely hitting the headlines lately, Dan? In terms of the exploits that are leveraged today, where do you see identity ranking across all of that, and especially non-human identities in particular?
Well, you're not going to phish a non-human identity, right? It's not going to click an email and install, malware on a workstation. You're not going to call it on the phone and ask it to, give its credentials. It's not going to happen, right? But those accounts really are the ones you want to go after. So you can theoretically compromise a user account through those traditional methods. Um, and then the directories that we work with today are such that once I've compromised that standard user account, I have visibility into the entire directory. And then I can see perhaps a service account that has privileges that I want to get. So that's what I would, laterally, or, it would be a step up. I would elevate my privileges and be able to impersonate that other account. So the user that I compromised becomes irrelevant at that point. So I'm no longer using that credential. So, cycling that person's password, even deleting their account makes no difference. But once I'm impersonating that privileged account, I really don't even need to know the password depending on how they're authenticating. So if I know their hashes, if I know, certain things about that account, I can still impersonate that account. I used to do old school pass the hash demonstrations for customers. It's a fun little attack to use, Mimikatz, and you just extract a hash. And the question would always come up, how long would it take you to crack the password of that privileged account? Like,
Hmm.
why would I want the password? I don't need the password. I don't care what it is. I have the hash. So I don't
Exactly.
really need to reverse engineer this hash and go back and figure out, that it was password 123. It doesn't matter. So when I impersonate that privileged account, I can be anyone I want to be based on the privileges of that account. So a
Hmm.
lot of times these accounts that were created many, many years ago were severely overprivileged anyway. So, maybe the application they were running under the context of required something that was really high level, or it was very intricate to exactly permission the right things for that account. So you just
Hmm.
simply put it in a highly privileged group and call it good. Or there's an alternative to that, and specifically looking back into my experience in Active Directory, if you don't put it in a privileged group, but you just permission it, it never truly gets identified as privileged, although it is privileged under the covers. So it sort of hides in plain sight and can do anything that someone in a privileged group can do. But at the same time, it's a very dangerous account. So things like, API keys that are hard coding into scripts, OAuth tokens, all of that can
Hmm.
be compromised and just used. And the way they got to that is sort of irrelevant anymore because you saw the attack, maybe you saw the user get phished, you saw them give their password, you quickly change their password. It's game over. It's already happened.